She's not protecting me, Adam. And I'm not protecting her. We're protecting each other.
And welcome back, everybody, to One True Theory, where today I am indeed dressed as a bumblebee, and depending on how the next few episodes of RWBY go, that may continue for the next couple of episodes, so just get used to this look. There is both a lot to unpack from the last episode of RWBY, and not a lot to unpack from the last episode of RWBY, because both of the major battles that everyone was expecting from the course of the episodes are both still in continuation. So a lot of my thoughts and ideas on what's going to happen next, what's going to happen in this next episode, aren't different, but I will add on to it, essentially speaking. So we had the really cool mech fight, and unsurprisingly, it was really, really cool, but missed opportunity not summoning a giant ethereal kaiju knight grim monster to fight the mech. But I'm still holding out hope on that, but not too much hope, because with how we were left off with that segment of the fight, with the mech fight, with Maria and Oscar possibly having to do a crash landing after getting hit by one of the missiles that Carolina was able to grab out of the air, which I don't want to give props, but like props, honestly, and chucked back at the aircraft. So if it's true that their aircraft here is crashing to the ground, then that gives credence to the idea that Team RWBY, I guess it's not Team RWBY, because you don't have BY. But if Maria is really crash landing, then it gives a lot of credence to the idea that Team Ruby Ranger is not going to be winning this fight, at least not wholly, which makes me feel like the idea of them getting imprisoned and possibly interrogated for an extended period of time has grown even stronger. So I'm going to double down on Team Ruby Ranger getting captured and interrogated by Carolina Cordova and the Atlesian military for over the course of a couple weeks at the very least. Oh, and then the Yang, and then the Bumblebee versus Adam fight. You see, I knew with all of my heart that Bumblebee was going to hit that son of a gun right in his face. Right in his disgustingly branded face, which, albeit intense,
you get no sympathy from me.
And now, what is going to happen? Well, of course, Adam Taurus is going to be defeated by Team Bumblebee. But how is it going to happen? Well, it depends on how directly they want to parallel Beauty and the Beast, like the actual story. Because if they want to, like, super parallel Beauty and the Beast, and that means that little cliffside that they have there is going to be very prominent to the end of this confrontation, in which one of them is trying to get dragged down by Adam Taurus as he's clinging to his last few pathetic moments of life, until he eventually does the desperate thing to stab whoever he's holding on to, only to cause his own imminent demise and possibly leave, if I'm to guess, Yang hurt, and probably very seriously hurt. However, before all of that, I think we're going to see a couple of different things. We're going to see Yang use her semblance again, which she hasn't used for over 3 volumes now. We're going to see her use her mechanical arm to do a final dual confrontation with Adam Taurus's sword. her mechanical arm is going to get completely destroyed, but so is Adam's sword. And that's honestly what's probably going to send them both tumbling over the cliffside, with Yang just barely holding on from her actual fleshy arm, and Adam Taurus hanging on from Yang, with maybe like a shattered piece of his katana that's still kind of jagged, which is going to then lead to him reaching up to stab her, which is going to cause her to flinch, fall, only for Yang to be just barely saved by Blake, and Adam Taurus to fall to ideally his demise, but I'm gonna wait and see how that all pans out before I jump full into what I really think is going to happen with Adam Taurus. And then, of course, there is an alternate idea to what's going to happen with the giant mech fight. Or maybe it's an idea that'll happen later, but I'll throw it out there. John did mention, and granted, this is just him giving his best guess, but it makes a lot of sense, that giant mech is probably better suited for fighting giant Grimm. Grimm such as, well, if the Grimm Dragon was still a threat, like the Grimm Dragon or the big sea dragon Grimm that we saw in Volume 4. It is possible that because of all the ruckus that the giant mech is causing, trying to fight off Team Ruby Ranger, that a giant Grimm from the ocean could get alerted and attracted to all of that negative emotion and then start attacking Argus, in which Carolina Cordova and her mostly destroyed mech without any shields, and Team Ruby Ranger, after a hard fight with a giant mech, have to work together to try to fight off this giant Grimm monster. I just don't personally think that that's the route that they're going to take. Mostly because, yes, they could do all of that, and possibly Carolina could overlook her usual nationalistic feelings about Atlas in order to let our heroes pass by and get their way onto Atlas. However, that would kind of make Cinder's idea of trying to get them before Atlas moot and point. And we still haven't seen Cinder and Neo. And because Cinder started a month after the Battle of Haven, which was approximately 2 weeks after the team initially set out to take the Argus Limited Train to Argus, and considering you've only spent about, I'll give them a week in Argus. I'll say it took a couple of days to make that plan. It's a little rough to say that there's going to be a team up between the mech and our heroes, which is why I believe that Team Ruby is going to get defeated in some way or another, and they're going to be imprisoned. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Carolina Cordova and the Atlesian military are going to defeat our heroes, or do you think they're going to work together and maybe come to a mutual agreement? Do you think Yang's arm is going to get destroyed once again in a final confrontation with her and Blake's greatest villain at the moment? And that they're going to very heavily parallel Beauty and the Beast? Or do you think the fight will go down in a different way? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And remember, everybody, every video is a party, and you're always invited to the next one. Thank you. Have a good night. Be sure to subscribe and buzz on.